Hi everyone, this is Jasmine from the Band Lab, and today we're talking about something slightly different from our normal uploads. So as you know, we recently went into our third proper lockdown, and for a band, that means having to run band online again. But over the past year and through multiple lockdowns, we have had our fair share of online classes, and I think we may have figured out a system that just works for us. So I'm here today to share some of these ideas so that it might help some of you out there as well. Alright, so let's get to it. First up, in any virtual environment, I think communication is key. You want to make sure that whenever each time you send out an important announcement, that your member receives that announcement. So the way that we go about doing that is by creating a WhatsApp group. But not just any WhatsApp group. A WhatsApp group that only the admins can send messages out and the participants can only read them. So in order to set this all up, all you have to do is to go into WhatsApp, click on New Group, and then add your participant in. So in this case, I'm just going to add myself. Give your group a group subject, so I'm just going to call this announcement trial. Click on create, and then go to the group settings over here. Change send messages from all participants to only admins. And there you go. Only the admins can send out messages. Ta-da! We also have a separate WhatsApp group where discussions are directed towards. That way you can have both announcement and discussions happening at the same time without your announcement being flushed out by other messages. Once this is all set up, I usually send out the schedule via the announcement group a few days or hours before the practice session itself. Our normal schedule usually looks like this. From 2 to 2:15 PM is when we gather as a group and discuss about the general goals that we as a band want to achieve for that day. And then at 2:15 PM, everyone is broken up into their separate breakout rooms based on their sections to discuss more in depth about how to achieve those goals as a section. Or when this is not necessary, they can always start on their warm-ups first. Once that's done, the section leaders will begin checking on their section members' homework at 2:45 PM. And then from 3 to 4:30 PM is where the members can continue to practice their parts individually and ask questions if they need to. At 4:30 PM, all practices come to a stop and the section comes together to reflect on each other's progress. Finally, at 4:45 PM, the whole band gathers for a debrief. And that's generally what our band does during an online practice session. So, the announcement group has been created, the schedule has been sent out. The next thing you want to consider is to have a reliable video conferencing platform to host your virtual band online. With this, there are many decent choices out there. For example, Zoom, WebEx, Microsoft Teams, but the one of our choosing is Google Meet. And let me explain why. As an NGO, we were able to register our organization with TechSoup Asia Pacific for free and gain access to quite a decent amount of technology donations and discount programs, one of which is Google for Nonprofits. And what Google for Nonprofits is, in a nutshell, is essentially Google's way of helping to solve many of the common challenges faced by nonprofits, one of which is to able to work more efficiently. And so included under Google Workspace for Nonprofits are many familiar applications, such as Google Drive, Google Meet, Gmail with custom domains, etc., but with much added benefits. So, for example, if you take a look at the current pricing plans of Google Meet, you'll actually find out that there will soon be a 1-hour limitation for group meetings after 28 June 2021 onwards. This means that unless you're willing to create a new group call for each additional hour of your practice session, I don't think it's a really ideal way of doing it. Under Google Workspace, however, we are able to gain access to extra features such as a maximum meeting length of 24 hours for group calls, as well as options for breakout rooms, which we use for sectional practices, polling, Q&A, and the hand-raising feature. All these extra features come really handy for an online band practices, especially if you're in a large band, because it makes voting, sectional practices, as well as facilitating discussions much easier. So, if your band is also an NGO and have yet to gain access to these wonderful features, make sure you check out the links to TechSoup as well as Google for Nonprofits in the description box below. Now, of course, if your band or music group isn't an NGO, there are also many other ways that you can run your band online with minimal disruptions and for free. For example, if you have a friend, colleague, or ex-student who have access to these premium features, you can always ask them to host these sessions for you. Another possible way is to also create different meeting links for each section so that you may break into separate video calls during sectionals. and then reconvene back into the main call when you require the attendance of the entire band. I've also seen other groups using Discord as the platform to run their online practices. So there are definitely ways that you can run your practices without necessarily requiring access to Google Workspace. Alright, now that that's underway, let's turn to student management. Running a band online can be overwhelming at times because there's just so many aspects that has to be handled all at once. So the way that we try to make it more manageable is by using a buddy system. And for us, that means pairing up a more senior member with 1 or 2 less experienced members. So during sectionals in breakout rooms, each member's progress is being accounted for, and the less experienced members are able to get the attention and assistance that they need. At the same time, it helps to build a general sense of responsibility and accountability of each individual towards the band, which I think is a win-win for all. Now, another 2 important tools that each member is required to have is a reliable tuner app as well as a metronome app. Not only will these apps help both the students and the leaders to know if they are playing in tune or on time during an online lesson, these tools are also essential really for any musician for use in their individual practices. Yeah, so that is the gist of what generally happens during an online practice session for us. However, the real work actually happens behind the scenes. Do you remember the Google Workspace for non-profits that I mentioned earlier in this video? It also comes with 30GB of Google Drive storage space for each user. That is double the amount that a free user gets. And the way that we make good use of this space is through the upload and submission of offline recordings during the middle of the week. While not perfect, offline recording submissions is a pretty decent solution to some of the common problems that we might face during an online session. For example, when audio and video playbacks aren't great due to unstable internet. Therefore, by having our members submit a video of their recording each week, it kind of gives me and the student leaders an idea of what the real progress of each member actually is. Once I have downloaded and listened to their recordings, I provide personalized feedback for each individual so that they can work on the more specific problematic areas before the next online session. However, when that isn't enough, one of the tools that I use to provide further guidance is the free notation software, MuseScore. On MuseScore, I'm able to input and create different practicing patterns for tricky parts, change the playback tempo, or even isolate a specific instrument part, and then export it as a PDF or MP3 file, depending on what is needed. For example, if a percussion member is having a hard time mastering a certain passage with tricky rhythms, I can simply type that rhythm into MuseScore, change the tempo to a slower one, and then export it as MP3 for the member to practice with. On the other hand, for members who are playing a wind instrument, an isolated reference playback of their part may also be helpful to develop more accurate pitching. So as you can see, there are many ways that you can use a notation software like MuseScore to help and support the learning of your member during this time. Once that is completed, I just let the members continue practicing on their own until we meet again on Sunday. And then the whole cycle repeats itself again and again. So yeah, that's basically how we run a band online during a lockdown. I mean, it is by no means a perfect way of running a band, and we are still constantly trying to find ways to improve it. So if your band runs it differently from us, or if you have a better idea that we can help to improve our own system, definitely let us know in the comment section down below. And if you have gained something valuable out of this video today, please help to give us a thumbs up and click on the subscribe button. Alright, with that, thank you so much for watching the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!